Hi folks, Bob Collins for Diver Supply. First off, I want to say thank you for tuning into our channel. And also I wanted to mention Helena, sorry, I might be mispronouncing that. I got the comment that you sent and I wanted to reply to your particular question, but I couldn't do it. And I wanted you to know that I've read it and I'm putting together a video to talk about exactly what you addressed in your comment. So folks, again, I want you to know that I read all the comments on the channel and I try to respond to them as much as I can. If you're new here, please reach down and hit the subscribe button. Love to have you a part of the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about these three Cressi BCDs. We have a lot of Cressi fans out there, especially in Italy and Europe, and so I wanted to, again, kind of speak to you. And of course, Cressi is all over the world, and we're seen all over the world. So I'm going to talk about the Commander, I'm going to talk about the Carbon, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Patrol. Some of these I've done other videos on that I'll post a link to down in the description, but I wanted to address a few particulars on these three BCDs that some of you have asked about. And those particular beings are, the Commander is the upper priced unit in these three. Here we have the Carbon, it's the next step over in price, and then the Patrol is the next step down, I'll have to say, in the price comparison. The Commander is probably the most full-featured. The Carbon is a little less, but pretty darn good. And of course, the Patrol is probably the least featured, but it's also the lightest of the three. There are certain commonalities in these three BCs that I'm going to address. Commonalities are fine. I mean, it's one manufacturer, and that makes it easier for them to produce and make their equipment affordable. One of the things about it, these 10-pound weight pockets, there's a ring here that some people are going to hook equipment on, and you could do that, but what it's handy for is if you reach through across from the left side and pull on the ring and pull back on the weight pocket, you could hear that snap. Travel unit means, again, lightweight. So when we look at D-rings, you see you've got one D-ring up here. They did put another one up here, which I really like. Some of the BCD companies, they don't put a D-ring up here, and this D-ring is really handy so that if you take your gauge leash, many of you have heard me talk about gauge leashes, and the gauge, instead of hooking it here and it hanging down here, or hooking it down on the bottom D-ring down here and it hanging way down here, if you hook the leash here, then that gauge hangs right here. So when you're diving, you can just pull it up. Hopefully it's on like a bungee, and you pull it up, you can just look at it, release it, and it goes right back in place. So for me, these two D-rings up here are really, really important. On this side, this has a extendable pocket that folds up and is secured underneath here when you don't need it. And maybe if you found some trash on the reef or whatever, you needed that pocket extended, you can just pull that Velcro loose and extend it on down like that. So either you can have a pocket or you get the nice trim look and feel of this non-bulky side on this BCD. So that makes a big difference. Up here, like I said, we've got one D-ring, our quick release, and it's got a right shoulder dump. Now, everybody out there knows how I feel about right shoulder dumps. In addition, the Inflator deflator has a pull dump off the left shoulder. The only thing I want to caution people about is after a few years of use, of course, you pulling on it can cause the connection between the bladder and the hose mount to come loose. Now that's quite a few years in use, so it's not something you need to necessarily worry about as far as a new BCD goes. And this pull dump and right shoulder dump, again, is common with all three of these BCs. Now let's take a look at the carbon. The carbon, its side pockets, now this is a back inflate, the Patrol. The Commander is a back inflate. Now Cressi calls that a back cell, but I'm going to call it a back inflate. Now the Carbon is a jacket style, which of course means it inflates here, comes all the way around, and the air comes into the bolster. You know, it's kind of one of those things where some people like jacket styles, some people prefer back inflates or back cell, whatever your particular preference is, maybe whatever you trained in, but that's kind of up to you. As we come down, we have two small pre-bent D-rings here under the inflator, two on the other side, and we come down. This buckle is a little bit bigger than what you see on the Patrol. They're not quite so worried about weight on this particular BC. We come down, we've got a spot here to connect your gauge if that's what you want to, or maybe you're left-handed, you want to put a light here, that works too. This has an actual zippered storage pocket, so you could put in my left pocket, a lot of times when I dive in the ocean, that's where I'm going to carry my EMT shears, my old CD or my signal mirror, and my offhand or my non-dominant hand pocket. And of course, down here on the bottom, we've got a forward-mounted D-ring, and again, our same weight pocket, just like on the Patrol over here. So one of the things it does have that these other ones don't have is what is known as a gear pocket. I think I can get a little bit of a close-up there. You can see that little slot there right at the top. You can fold the hose and put your hose in here, and there's one on this side and there's one on the right side. And you know, a lot of places, sometimes they put octos in different places, but normally we put them on the right. So we tend to, around here, we tend to call this an octo pocket. It does have a D-ring on this side and pretty much the same thing that you saw over here on the Patrol. All right, let's take a look at the Commander. Now the pre-bent D-rings over here are nice. We've got a right shoulder pull dump, and on here we have a storage pocket, and basically this storage pocket, this side is virtually the same as what you see on the Patrol, but it's got a storage pocket sewn to the outside. One of the things that makes it different. All of this configuration is exactly the same, except there's no fold away extendable pocket. There's actually a zippered pocket here on the top. All right, let's talk about weight carrying capability. So again, like I told you, these weight pockets are 10-pound apiece. So each of these 10, 10 right on across the board. So up front, we've got 20. The Commander and the Carbon both have trim pockets that can take another 10 pounds divided between the two pockets. The Patrol does not have trim pockets on the back, but you could add trim pockets on the back if you wanted to. It's not a problem. Lift capabilities, the Patrol is 49, the Commander is 49, the Carbon is 36. Like I said, for Cressi and these particular 3 BCs, there's a lot of commonality. The back plate and the inner back plate are the same across all 3 of them. They all have a valve strap. They all have a single tank strap. Now, this back plate does have a slot on each one of these that you could add a second tank strap or cam strap, if that's your vernacular. You could add one of these to any, or one of those to any of these BCs. The right shoulder dump, the pull dump is common across all three of them. The butt dump, now there's a little difference here, but they use the same mechanism. You'll notice that on the Patrol and on the Commander, the butt dump is on the inside. So if you were to reach back, you would reach back to the inside on those two, whereas on the Carbon, its butt dump is on the outside, so you would reach around. You can also see that this has no trim pockets, built-in trim pockets into basically the bladder system on the Carbon, and the trim pockets on the Commander are mounted on the tank strap. Now, like I was saying, the back plate that's in all three of these is the same. The difference, and again, the similarities, come in the pad. When we look at the Patrol, you can see in here the back plate and the pad here. This pad on the Patrol and on the Carbon, it uses the same pad, whereas the Commander, it uses a different pad in there. Patrol has no cummerbund in here, and really, you can see where there actually is a possible accommodation for one, but you would have to figure something out and put one in there if you were really a cummerbund style person. On the Carbon, we have that same pad, but it does have a cummerbund. There are some side straps accommodation on the side bolsters that the cummerbund runs through, and then it comes around and goes behind this pad and comes around the other side. Now, only thing I didn't necessarily see is some adjustability except for the Velcro. When we come over here and look at the Commander Evo, it does have a cummerbund and a nice colorful logo like what you see right there. This particular cummerbund, I want you to see, this is actually sewn into this side bolster, which is non-inflatable, but kind of attaches right in. So its adjustability comes from this built-in elastic that's put in the actual cummerbund itself, instead of being adjustable like many BCs around the back of the back pad and the plate back there. So that's a look at these Cressi BCDs, the Commander, the Carbon, and the Patrol. I think if I was going to be traveling, I would go with the Patrol. If you needed to add a couple of weight pockets, they're very inexpensive back here on the trim area. The Carbon, if you like the jacket style, I would possibly go with the Carbon. And of course, the Commander is probably the upper level of these three BCDs. It's got great lift. It's already got the trim pockets on it. It's got some small outside zipper pockets that the Patrol doesn't have. So it has some features not necessarily seen on the Patrol, but it is a back inflate or Cressi back cell. I'm Bob Collins for Diver Supply. Appreciate you guys watching. And again, as I always say, dive safe out there.